Once upon a time, in a village, there lived a man who was constantly troubled by various problems and felt deeply unhappy with his life. One day, he heard that a renowned wise monk, along with his disciple, had arrived in the town. The man decided to seek the master's wisdom. That evening, he went to meet the wise monk. After waiting for a while, he was finally able to speak with him. He said, "O wise one, I am very unhappy with my life. I am always surrounded by problems, sometimes it's work, sometimes it's my health, other times there are issues at home or other troubles. Please tell me a way to rid myself of all these problems, so I can live in peace and happiness." The wise monk smiled and replied, "My dear friend, I will give you a solution tomorrow morning. But in the meantime, could you do me a small favor?" The man agreed, curious to know what the master had in mind. The wise monk continued, "I have placed 10 large candles in the meditation hall. Tonight, I want you to keep all the candles lit until sunrise. That is my favor. Do this, and I will meet in the morning." The man nodded, confident that this simple task would lead him to the peace he so desperately sought. As night fell, the man entered the meditation hall and lit all the candles. For a while, everything was calm, but soon a breeze from the window began to extinguish one candle after another. The man rushed to relight them, only to find that as soon as he lit one, another would go out. He frantically moved from one candle to the next, but no matter how hard he tried, he could not keep all the candles burning at once. By morning, the man was exhausted. He had spent the entire night running around the room, trying in vain to keep the flames alive. When the wise monk returned in the morning, he asked, "Did you manage to keep all the candles lit?" The man, looking worn out and frustrated, replied, "No, master. I tried my best, but every time I lit one candle, another would go out. It was impossible to keep them all burning at the same time." The wise monk smiled and said, "My friend, these candles are like the problems in your life. Some go out on their own, others you can keep burning with your efforts, and some, no matter how hard you try, will flicker and fade in their own time. The more you try to control them all at once, the more exhausted and overwhelmed you become." He continued, "Life's problems are much the same. Some will solve themselves without your intervention. Some require your attention and effort, and others will persist despite all you do. But just like the candles, you cannot control everything at once. If you spend your life running from problem to problem, trying to fix everything, you will never find peace." He thought deeply about the wise monk's words and realized the wisdom in them. He had been trying to control every aspect of his life, believing that only when all problems were solved could he be happy. But the truth was, happiness didn't come from a life free of problems. It came from learning how to live with them, solving what he could, and letting go of what he couldn't. The wise monk's lesson stayed with him forever: you can't stop the wind, but you can learn to let the candles burn as they will, finding peace amidst the flickering flames. If we see in our own lives, we often become overwhelmed by the constant flow of challenges, whether they come from work, relationships, health, or personal struggles. Just like the man in the story, we believe that once all our problems are resolved, peace and happiness will follow. However, the reality is that life will always present us with new difficulties. The key isn't in eliminating all the problems but in learning to manage them with grace and understanding. The more we chase perfection and control over every situation, the more exhausted we become, just like the man running after the candles. But when we shift our focus to what we can influence and learn to let go of what we cannot, we find a deeper sense of peace. Life's challenges are inevitable, but they are also opportunities for growth. They remind us to accept life's imperfections and embrace the journey, knowing that we have the strength to face what comes our way. True happiness lies not in a problem-free life but in finding peace amidst the chaos. When we learn to coexist with the flickering flames of our struggles, we discover that life is not about extinguishing every fire, but about standing resilient, learning, and growing stronger with every flicker. Let go of the need for control, focus on what truly matters, and trust that with the right mindset, you can find joy and strength no matter what life brings.